Hey everyone, Grayson the Bard here, and welcome back to day 27 of the Hunt Day. Before I launch into the monster that we're fighting, I want to let everyone know that we are closing in quickly on the 1 quarter mark, one fourth of the Hunt Day challenge done. 12 days from now, day 39, we will be 1/4 of the way through the 156 that I'm going to be doing. And I'll be 100% honest with you, thinking about it in terms of quarters like that is so much more manageable for me than it is trying to think of, I've still got 130 some of these still left to do. So I've been trying to shift and have that be more of my focus. And since we're already closing in on that quarter of the way through mark, I have decided it is time for me to begin my training arc for the big finale of this series, Fatalis. And in order to begin that training arc proper, I need to have good enough gear. So I put together a Frostcraft crit draw build for my greatsword as a basis for what I'm going to be bringing into that fight. And so I hopped into the Guiding Lands, lured out a Coral Puke Puke, and decided to test it out. I have always loved crit draw as a playstyle with greatsword, and it was my main playstyle in 4 Ultimate, and then if you've, watched some of the videos I've done in Generations, I have kind of a variation of it with a, Valor Sheaf quick draw build that I'm doing. And I remember when I first played World, I was so disappointed to learn how much of the greatsword moveset was prioritizing True Charge Slash rather than just the regular draw charge, and how crit draw builds really weren't a viable thing, and that made me sad, and it made me kind of switch off greatsword for a while towards the mid to end game. But that's also how I fell in love with Hunting Horn. So you take the good, you take the bad, you take it all, and there you have weird weapon mechanics. But yeah, I'm really liking this build so far. I think it's gonna do well. I just need to put some time into augmenting it, which is where the Grinding Lands comes in. I'm going to be using my Guiding Lands grind as a way for me to, record content for this this challenge in order to hopefully make it less obscene for me. We'll see how that goes. Okay, but enough about gear and updates. Let's talk about Coral Puke Puke, who I absolutely love. One of my favorite monsters in Iceborne, even though he is kind of like a low-tier subspecies monster, the equivalent of Blue Yon Kutku from earlier games. But just look at him. Look at this big, dumb, doofy idiot, this goofus, this nerd. I love him so much, and his silly chameleon face. He always looks like he's having a ball, and his color scheme is so vibrant. I've talked before about how I love purples, blues, greens. That's my color palette of choice if I have an option. But oh man, Coral Puke Puke looks so good. I love how vibrant the oranges and pinks and yellows are, and even when he does the enrage mode, the red of his face really ties into the overall color scheme, and it doesn't stick out as much as it does on a regular Puke Puke, but it looks so natural and so good. And I think him having access to the water element rather than, poison status, I think might endear people to him a little bit more, even if some of his moves are a little more annoying, and his super soaker high PSI bullshit can get a little aggravating at times. But yeah, he's a real fun fight, and I tend to use Coral Puke Puke as a tester for a lot of my builds, in part because I just love the monster, and in part because it is kind of easy, but also can still, hit you kind of hard if you're not playing carefully, so it's a good way to actually test how to, get in and out of bad situations with the build you're using, instead of just, a great Jagras, who is essentially just a punching bag. In terms of how likely I think it is to come back, I would have said I think it is almost guaranteed to come back in Wilds, because, maybe not Coral Puke Puke. I think regular Puke Puke has the best chance of coming back in both Monster Hunter Wilds and future Monster Hunter games. I think Coral Puke Puke is a little bit more of a question mark, just because subspecies don't seem to come back as often as the regular species do. We didn't see Fulgur Anjanath or Coral Puke Puke in Rise or Sunbreak, even though they were just in Monster Hunter World with them as well. The same way, we've had 2 games in a row where we have had Kushala Daora, but no Rusted Kushala Daora. We have not seen Rusted since for Ultimate, I think, back in like 2015. So I'd say, since it just was back in Rise, though, it might skip a game. So I'll say for Wilds, I'll say like a 5 or 6 out of 10. For Puke Puke regular to return, 3 or 4 out of 10 for Coral Puke Puke to return. And then I think like 7 or 8 for both of them to show up again in a future Monster Hunter game. People love Puke Puke. There's no way we're not going to see him again in his big dumb face. But yeah, that is all for today. Please enjoy the rest of the hunt. Stick around to the end if you can. I really appreciate it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't. And until next time, I'll see you next time.